Imagine this. A teenager glides to court in a car that costs more than most people's homes and walks in as if the building belongs to him. The heavy doors breathe out a long wooden sigh. Polished shoes answer with a steady rhythm along the tiles. He's 17, going on sovereign. The tailoring on his suit could slice air. The screen light of his phone stains his face a cool, arrogant blue. He doesn't look up. The courtroom is background noise to him, a stage he didn't book but intends to steal. Heads turn. The gallery murmurs about the car outside, low, silver, loud, the kind that announces itself even when it's parked. Someone whispers about the vanity plate. Someone else says they saw a baby stroller freeze like prey. Then the judge enters. Morning light pours down the high windows and sets a thin halo along the gavel. Judge Celeste Rowan takes the bench with 3 unhurried heel beats. The room rises in one motion. He doesn't. At the defense table, Jaden Cross keeps his seat, half smile hooked at the corner like a dare, one leg already drifting toward the tabletop. He pulls one earbud free as if granting the world a fraction of his attention. "Stand for the court," Rowan says. Jaden stands a heartbeat late, on purpose, eyes skating the room like a skate blade over ice. He adjusts his cuff and lets that leg climb, the sole of his shoe catching the table's edge. He's not talking, but he's already said everything. "Noted," Rowan replies, voice level enough to steady a room that suddenly feels off balance. For a breath, nothing moves. Only the gold edge of the gavel holds the light, and everyone wonders what it will cost him to keep that smirk. Maya Johnson calls the case. The air thins with attention. Avery Sinclair for the state rises. Her suit is neat, but the neatness is armor. She's had a week of replayed footage and sleepless worry about the inch that kept luck from becoming tragedy. Count 1, felony criminal mischief, significant property damage to a storefront window. Her voice is calm, even kind, but conviction pushes underneath. Count 2, reckless endangerment, conduct creating a substantial risk of serious injury. No injuries occurred, but the risk was extreme. A screen glows. A still frame appears. A silver coupe sideways. A baby stroller yanked back. A spray of glass hanging mid-air like frozen rain. Avery's jaw tightens. Not at the boy, but at the physics of almost. 1 inch, she says. By measurement. In the second row, the store owner holds a folder of invoices as if it's a broken rib. Beside him, the mother who pushed that stroller keeps her hand white-knuckled on the handle. A reporter underlines something. 1 inch. At the defense table, Nina Torres stands. She touches a stack of color-tabbed papers the way a musician takes first breath. Your Honor, we acknowledge the conduct was immature. There was no injury, and Mr. Cross is 18, enrolled full-time, with responsibilities caring for his grandfather. We submit a schedule, contact numbers, and a supervision plan. He is not chaos. He comes with structure. Nina doesn't look at Jaden when she says it. She looks at the mother, at the store owner, at the judge, people who need a promise that this won't happen again. She believes in structure because once, structure believed in her. Jaden lounges into the chair's comfort as if it were designed around him. When he hears immature, he exhales a laugh meant only for the back row. A friend almost laughs with him until the deputy's gaze lands like a hand on the shoulder. Judge Rowan tilts her head. Mr. Cross, define endangerment. He lifts a shoulder. No one got hurt. Clean, practiced, as if he's rehearsed it into a shield. Words matter, Avery thinks. The inch mattered. She keeps her face still. Rowan's tone doesn't rise. It narrows. Would you like to try again? Jaden taps a rhythm on the table with his finger. I mean, no harm actually happened. Language can hide things, Nina says, and it's for both of them, judge and boy. He's not denying danger, he's acknowledging outcome. Avery answers without looking at Jaden. Because looking at him would tempt anger, and anger is sloppy. Outcome is not safety. Luck is not law. The mother's lips tremble once and stop. The store owner rubs at a scar of dried adhesive on his cuff where glass dust stuck last week. The reporter writes, "No harm happened," his words. Rowan's hands rest on the bench, quiet and immovable. "This room runs on rules, not moods," she says. The sentence lands like a key turning. The state will connect risk to proposed conditions. The defense will connect structure to credibility. We will decide by criteria, not by theater. Avery nods. She has a list she built at 2 in the morning. No driving pending review, because cars are temptation and power. Curfew aligned to the hours he misused. GPS because boundaries teach. She wants to speak to the boy, but she speaks to the bench because the bench is where change becomes requirement. Nina nods too. She has a net she can hold up with names. Who keeps the keys? Who checks curfew? Who rides with him to school and back? She believes in ladders out of holes, and in the stubborn fact that some boys only learn when the ground under them is named. Rowan shifts her eyes back to Jaden. When I ask a question, I measure the answer and the posture. He raises his chin a fraction. The smirk returns, thinner now, not because he's humbled, but because the room refuses to laugh with him. Silence leans in. Then Avery reaches into her briefcase and lifts a small evidence bag. A single triangle of glass sleeps inside it, catching the courtroom's light. "This," she says, setting it on the edge of the defense table, inches from Jaden's tapping hand, "was recovered from the pavement beside that stroller's wheel." Her voice doesn't harden, but it deepens. 1 inch to the left, and we are not talking about invoices. For the first time, Jaden's rhythm misses a beat. It is not remorse. It is recognition. The inch is small enough to fit in a bag. Nina watches his hand still and chooses not to rescue him from the stillness. She will fight for him, but not against reality. Rowan lets the hush do its work. "We'll proceed to bail and conduct. Self-control here predicts self-control outside." Jaden keeps his foot on the table, but his eyes flick once toward the gavel's gold line. Brief, involuntary, caught. The light doesn't move. Neither does the judge. The room has learned to breathe around him. Jaden leans toward the gallery and lets a line slip out, low but aimed to carry. "I stand for nobody in costume." It lands where he wants it to. 2 rows back among kids who want a story and parents who don't. A father stiffens. The deputy turns his head an inch, a warning without voice. "Don't self-destruct," Nina whispers. No pleading, just a line she has said to boys who confuse noise with power. Avery keeps her focus on the bench. "Public safety isn't a slogan," she says, steady and warm. "It's the difference between luck and risk invited back." Jaden answers with a single clap, 1 dry beat. The sound is small and corrosive. Judge Rowan doesn't blink. "Clapping ends now," she says. "You are heard by the record, not by the rouse." Nina shifts to catch his eyes. "Look at me," she says softly. "Pick the smarter gesture." He refuses. Defiance is the costume he keeps. Rowan's voice stays level. "Mr. Cross, do you understand amenability to supervision? Answer yes or no." The question isn't vocabulary. It's whether rules are real when they reach him. Jaden's smile thins. Depends who's supervising. Avery doesn't smile. She recognizes the pattern. Authority is acceptable only when it is his. Rowan answers for the record. Answer. Evasive. The clerk's pen moves. Paper remembers longer than pride. Avery continues, now with conviction under each clause. We ask for conditions that match demonstrated risk. No driving pending review, a curfew covering the hours of the incident, GPS geofences for home, school, and the strip where drifting occurred, and no contact with the group from that night. We are not punishing luck. We are preventing it from being asked to save us again. Nina answers without theater. We answer with structure. Mother holds the car keys in a lockbox and signs for them. Curfew checks at set times. School counselor will verify attendance and report absences the same day. If the court orders GPS and check-ins, we accept. If the court orders written reflection and apology, we will make it meaningful, not performative. We will not make the court chase us. We will report ourselves. The store owner's shoulders ease a fraction. That is enough. The rest of the room can keep its reactions to itself. Jaden sits very still, then tilts toward the defense side. Mom can pay, he mutters, half proud. His mother, silent until now, touches a checkbook in her purse as if it were a lever. She trusts. I can, she murmurs. The sound reaches him. His shoulders lift. The old smirk finds oxygen. A thin memory ghosts through him, a man's voice over a steering wheel that wasn't his. Don't let anyone stand above you. If there's trouble, I'll handle it. In his house, money has been the extinguisher. It hisses, and the flame obeys. He has learned to love the hiss. Rowan watches the transfer of confidence from mother to son the way a physician watches a pulse spike. She says nothing about it. She simply refuses to be part of the pattern. Mr. Cross, she says, when rules draw a line, do you step back or lean your weight into it to see if it will break? The safer answer is short. He chooses the long one. Some lines deserve pressure, he says. Depends who drew them. The court drew these. Rowan replies, calm as a level on a wall. The court is not a person you can like or dislike. It is an obligation you keep. She turns briefly to counsel, and the procedure compresses to essentials. Avery ties curfew to the incident window and explains that GPS creates real-time alerts to pre-trial services and the parent. Nina confirms who holds the keys and how violations are reported. The mother calls pre-trial first, counsel second. No flourishes, no debate about the obvious. Jaden scoffs, barely audible. He tries to put his leg back on the table. Pride helps it rise. Rowan doesn't look away. Mockery is also data, she says, a ledger entry more than a rebuke. Then she adds something new and the room tightens around it. In 1 minute, this court will stand for a short recess, she says. When it does, you will stand on time. If you do not, I will enter direct contempt. Answer yes or no. The deputy's hand settles near the chair. The mother's fingers pause on the checkbook. Avery holds her breath and hates that she is holding it. Nina's eyes are steady on the boy, asking him without words to pick the smarter gesture at last. Rowan waits. The gavel's gold rim keeps its thin line of light. The pen above the record hovers. Yes or no, Mr. Cross? Rowan doesn't rehash proposals. She lays the papers flat, the way an engineer appraises a bridge before a storm. Now we test, she says. Brief hypotheticals, direct answers. She points to the state. GPS goes dark, Phone off. Who's notified and what's the next step? Avery. Pre-trial and the parent get alerts at once. If unresolved within minutes, it escalates to a call and a written report. To the defense, Rowan says. 7 minutes late on curfew. Who logs it and what happens in the first hour? Nina. His mother records the time, calls pre-trial, then me. We report violations, not hide them. One more, Rowan says. He drives a friend's car. Avery. No driving applies to any vehicle. Silence holds. The plans have left paper and entered time. The court has heard secured bail, GPS, curfew, and no driving, Rowan says. The court has also heard a supervision plan with names, not abstractions. She looks at Jaden. What matters is whether a plan touches the person it binds. He tips his chair back half an inch, as if ease were armor. Avery adds one line, spare and sincere. We're not asking for punishment. We're asking the court to keep luck from being the plan. Nina nods. We'll carry our side of the rope. Jaden cuts across her. Curfew? I'm not a child. You will not interrupt counsel, Rowan says, voice level. Self-control here predicts self-control outside. The deputy plants a boot. Jaden's chair settles. Compliance is not a performance, Rowan adds. It's proof. We're done with speeches. We'll observe behavior. Her eyes meet his. When this court rises now, you will rise on time. One late beat is direct contempt. This is not another warning. This is the test. The clock seems louder. Nina leans just close enough. Take the simple win, she whispers. Stand with the room. He rolls his shoulders like a runner checking stride. He believes he can land the delay as style, not defiance. A short recess, Rowan says. All rise, the clerk calls. The room rises in one motion. Jaden stays seated. One beat, two. He begins to stand on the third, surgical and smug. Noted, Rowan says. The word changes the air. The clerk writes. The deputy doesn't move. Nina's breath catches, then evens. Rowan doesn't raise her voice. A finding of direct contempt is now available to the court, she says. Understanding remains my preference. Order is not optional. Avery looks at the bench, not at the boy. Nina looks at the boy, not to shield him, but to see what he learns. Rowan turns a page. Phone dies. Pre-trial calls your mother. 20 minutes pass and you're unreachable. When asked tomorrow, what's your answer? Jaden shrugs and stops, aware the record now notices shrugs. I plug it in. Better, Rowan says, is that you don't let it die. She glances to defense. Charger protocol. Nina. 2 chargers, home and car. Battery pack if ordered. Ordered, Rowan says. The stitch tightens. Jaden exhales through his nose. His leg starts to climb back to the table and reconsiders halfway. Avery keeps it brief. With conditions, the odds of repeat drop. Without them, they don't. Nina mirrors the economy. We'll show our work. Failure visible, success earned. Rowan scans the room once and returns to the only center that matters. Here is what the court has observed. A plan that can work. A defendant who tested a line after it was drawn. The court measures posture for credibility, not style. No gavel strike, no lecture. The quiet itself is the turn. In the back, the students who came for a show look down. The store owner's jaw eases. Even Jaden's friends stop watching him and start watching the bench. Pride rallies. He tries to wear the delay as a crown, but noted sits heavier than jewelry. There is no swagger past ink. Rowan addresses both tables. We proceed to bail with conduct included. Avery, succinct. Secured bail, GPS, curfew, no driving, no contact. Nina, succinct. We accept GPS and curfew. Mother holds keys. Violations reported immediately. Rowan nods once, acknowledgement, not approval, and returns to Jaden. Mr. Cross, a line was drawn. You put your weight on it while everyone watched. That choice speaks to amenability. He stares at a fixed point beyond the bench. The smirk tries to hold. His mother's hand rests on her purse, on the old lever that always seemed to work. He doesn't reach for it. Not yet. The record, Rowan says, has its entry. She shifts to the practical. The court will hear any final additions strictly tied to risk reduction. Avery offers one. Geofences, home, school, and the strip where the drifting occurred. Alerts ping pre-trial and the parent in real time. No adjectives, just wiring. Nina offers one. Curfew checks at set times. If he is late, we log, call, and accept consequences without chasing leniency. Rowan accepts both, by not rejecting either. The court will take a short pause to finalize terms. She stands. The room rises with her. Reflex now, not ritual. This time, Jaden rises exactly on time. It is not contrition. It is data. Noted, the judge says again. And it means two different things in the same minute. The bench empties. The sound fades to that thin courthouse hush that isn't silence so much as preparation. The gold edge of the gavel holds its narrow light. Jaden remains upright, hands at his sides, eyes forward. He has stopped signaling to the back row. He has started counting, not inches, beats. The room waits for the terms. He waits too, and for once the weight he feels is not attention. It is the ordinary gravity of rules that will not move to meet him. When the judge returns, the test will continue. For now, the record breathes. The hallway smells like coffee and floor wax. People drift out in low currents, lawyers checking watches, shoes tapping toward vending machines as if sugar could steady a pulse. Near the door, a reporter raises a mic to the store owner. What do you want from the court? He doesn't posture. Safety, he says, and the window fixed. I don't need anybody's life ruined. I need a lesson learned. His gaze slips back to the courtroom, as if the word lesson might travel through wood. Along the wall, a small knot of students forms. A phone lifts at chest height, lens peeking. Hey, the deputy says. Easy but firm. No recording in the courtroom. He taps the posted sign and waits. The phone disappears. The knot loosens and moves on. Jaden lingers by the water fountain, jacket open, tie loose by design. He studies himself in the chrome face of a fire alarm, tilting for the angle that makes him look untouchable. The half-smile arrives on cue. Jaden, Nina says, stepping into his periphery without crowding him. In there, every breath you take is on the record. He keeps his eyes on the metal. I'm breathing fine. You're performing, she says. The record doesn't care for performance. Record doesn't scare me. It should, she answers, calm. Paper remembers longer than pride. Across the hall, the reporter thanks the store owner and backs away. The mother with the stroller stays out of frame, one hand white on the handle. She watches Jaden the way a person watches a road before stepping off the curb. He catches her gaze for a flicker, then returns to the chrome. Fear is respect, he says lightly, to the reflection more than to Nina, as if the line lands cleaner when polished. Fear is compliance, Nina says. Respect is a choice. Same result. Only while someone's watching. He smirks. Someone is always watching. Not when you most need the rule, she says. That's why the rule exists. He looks down at his cuff. A smaller memory stirs. No speeches, Just the familiar comfort that problems can be paid down, that consequences are negotiable if you move fast. It's a feeling more than a story, and it has kept him from looking past the minute he's in. Nina catches the brief stall in his eyes. What plays well in rooms like this doesn't keep anybody safe on the street. So respect is standing when they say stand? He asks. It's standing when the rule says stand, she answers. That includes you. It includes me. The judge follows a rule too. That's why her calm works. She's calm because she has the hammer. She's calm because she doesn't need it, Nina says. You felt that. Jaden glances her way, then looks at the floor just beyond the front wheel, as if the tile could still hold last week's glass. Listen, Nina says, lowering her voice. I'll fight for you inside. I won't fight physics. Your mother can post bond. That isn't the same as being safe to release. He bristles at release, as if the word conjures a cage. I'm not unsafe. You were 1 inch from harm, she says. That inch is nothing until it's everything. He checks the mirror again. The boy in it tries on indifference and finds it tight across the chest. This judge is giving you the softest version of hard, Nina says. You can learn by paper and time, or by metal and doors. He swallows. What do you want from me? A choice you can live with, she says. Not a pose, a choice. The half-smile fades, then he forces it back, as if reminding the mirror who's in charge. Nina steps back, giving him room. Every breath, she repeats. On the record. From inside, a hinge clicks. People begin drifting toward the doorway. The deputy touches the "No recording in the courtroom" sign once, then lets his hand fall. Jaden looks at the chrome and finds a face that is less invincible and more 18. He does not like it. He does not look away. Nina tips her head toward the door. Let's go. He pushes off the wall and falls in beside her. As they pass the mother, he keeps his eyes forward. It isn't apology. It isn't contempt. It's the smallest possible ceasefire. At the threshold, the hum of the courtroom returns. Paper, shoes, wood, light. Jaden touches his cuff and, without thinking, matches his pace to that steady rhythm inside, the one that does not change for anyone. They re-enter. The mask holds, but the seams are no longer invisible. They file back into the steady hush of shoes on tile. Your Honor, Avery says, 1 image for the record. The monitor wakes. A photo fills the screen. A sharp triangle of glass, lying inches from a stroller's front wheel. A breath passes through the gallery. One shared intake. The store owner's jaw tightens. The mother's fingers find the stroller handle and hold. Jaden leans just enough to show he is looking, not enough to concede weight. The half-smile returns. Still, he says, no harm. It is not loud. It is worse than loud. It is confident and flat, a verdict he gives himself. Avery does not answer him. She lets the photo do the speaking. Judge Rowan turns her head a fraction. So, she says, each word clear, you did not hit anyone by inches, safe or lucky. The question lands clean, like the sound of glass on stone. It does not accuse. It sorts. Jaden does not hear the trap. He likes the word that floats to the surface. Lucky is still no harm. Silence gathers and thickens. It is the kind of silence that carries meaning. The mother's eyes shine without spilling. Nina does not jump in front of the sentence. She lets it rest where he put it. Rowan lowers the temperature another degree. Words cost, she says. Choose them. Jaden shifts, a small shrug that means I have chosen. His mouth has found a hill to defend. No injury equals no problem. He does not notice that the hill is made of gravel. Avery's voice stays even. For the state, the point remains the same. We are not here to punish luck. We are here so luck is not asked to save us again. Nina meets that without theatrics. The defense accepts conditions that reduce risk. Jaden turns toward the ceiling instead of the bench. No one was hurt, he repeats, softer, as if volume could make the idea wiser. Rowan's tone stays level. You are close to contempt of this courtroom's order. You will speak in a way that reflects understanding. First warning. He flicks his eyes to the back row, checking for a laugh that is no longer available. He tries again. I mean, I get it. That sentence does not show that you do, Rowan says. Second warning. The space between warnings feels like thin ice. Everyone senses it. Avery lifts the evidence bag that holds another shard from the scene. It glints. There is a difference between no harm happened and no harm was risked, she says. The first is history. The second is math. Rowan nods once. The nod is not toward the state so much as toward arithmetic. Jaden's mother shifts in her seat. Her purse whispers. Inside it, the old answer waits on paper. She does not touch it. She watches the photo and her son, and her hand tightens until her knuckles pale. Rowan speaks to the room and to the record. No injury occurred. That is true. It is not proof of safety. It is proof of a margin. When you treat the margin as a shield, you tell the court something about your readiness to be supervised. Supervised, Jaden repeats, trying to fit contempt back onto his face. The word feels larger in his mouth than it did before the photo. He reaches for the refuge he has used all morning. I said I get it. Rowan decides the line has been tested enough. The court enters a finding of direct contempt, stayed on compliance. Your conduct has crossed into contempt once. The sanction will be activated if you do not comply going forward. No gavel strike. No raised voice. Consequence arrives like weather, and the room adjusts. Jaden looks to Nina, searching for a script. Her reply is soft. You got 2 warnings. The stay is a bridge. Walk it. He swallows. The taste of the word lucky fades. Avery sits. She has done what she came to do. Put the inch into light. Rowan addresses the record again. The court has observed the defendant's statements in response to the photo and his posture thereafter. The finding of contempt is stayed. The court will factor this into any conditions designed to turn risk into rules. She looks at Jaden. You are not being asked to like the rule. You are required to keep it. The back row stops scanning for spectacle. The eyes that were on him start shifting to the bench. He is learning where the gravity truly sits. Nina touches his sleeve once, the lightest contact. When she asks a question next time, she whispers, answer the math, not the story you prefer. He nods without moving, the small kind of nod the clerk still catches because the clerk catches everything. The monitor blinks to black. The shard recedes into its plastic bag. The inch remains, humming in the quiet like a wire under paint. Rowan looks to the counsel tables. We return to conditions. Avery rises to confirm what matters. Secured bail with GPS, curfew, no driving, no contact, geofences. Nina rises to match. We accept GPS and curfew. Mother holds keys. Violations recorded and reported immediately. Rowan nods once. It reads as acknowledgement, not approval. She turns back to Jaden. A line was drawn. You put weight on it after being told it was a line. That choice bears on amenability. He sits straighter. The smile he wears out of habit does not arrive. He chooses stillness instead. The first posture he has used all day that does not make a sound. The judge lets the quiet work. In that quiet lives the second mini-reversal, the discovery that no harm is not a shield. It is a bill, and the court will collect in rules. Rowan gives the gavel's edge a thin ribbon of light. The room breathes once, then twice. The inch no longer feels like victory to him. It feels like a margin he can lose. The monitor fades to black. Quiet settles, tidy, deliberate. Judge Rowan speaks into that order, voice cool and exact. For the record, contempt is about order, not anger. Bail is risk management, not punishment. She turns slightly toward the defense table. Counsel, your client may speak, if he intends to be meaningful. Nina nods. Her tone stays even. Jaden, own the conduct, what you did and who paid. Jaden clears his throat. Sorry if anyone felt unsafe. The sentence collapses on its hinge. If felt. Rowan doesn't sharpen volume, she sharpens meaning. That is a word, not meaning. Use the structure I asked for. What you did and who paid. He looks down at his hands, then up. I drove reckless. I drifted by the storefront. I risked other people. Which people? Rowan asks. He glances at the second row. The mother with the stroller meets his eyes without malice, without rescue. He looks away, then back to the bench. You may address the court, Rowan says. Not anyone else. He tries again. I risked the baby in the stroller, the mother, people on the sidewalk, the store owner. A quiet baritone supplies a fact. The store owner doesn't stand. My child was at the doorway that day. The doorway becomes real again. Place, distance, edge. A pastor near the aisle nods once. No word follows. I didn't know, Jaden says. And the room hears how thin that is. Rowan's reply is firm, not unkind. Ignorance of who does not excuse risking someone. When you treat the street like a stage, the law exists to stop it. Avery adds a single line, same restraint as before. And, to keep luck from being the plan. Rowan inclines her head, then back to Jaden. You have another chance. Make it cost you something true. His jaw works, undoing the shape of the smirk he wore all morning. He looks at the empty floor just beyond the defense table and chooses the bench instead of the row behind him. I drove reckless, he says, firmer. I risked the baby, the mother, the store owner, and anyone between me and a better decision. No one got hurt because I got lucky. Better, Rowan says. Ownership doesn't fix what could have happened. It makes supervision possible. The court doesn't need your feelings. The court needs your choices. Nina leans just enough for him to hear. This is the point. Contempt isn't her temper. Bail isn't your punishment. Both test whether you can live inside a rule. He gives a small nod, visible enough for the clerk's pen to catch. Rowan moves to mechanics. For clarity, the contempt finding is stayed on compliance. Any further disruption lifts the stay. The court anticipates conditions including GPS, curfew, no driving, and geofences around home, school, and the incident strip. Avery. Understood? Nina. Understood and accepted. Rowan faces the gallery. The court recognizes the community's stake. This proceeding is not theater. It is a safety instrument. The pastor's nod returns. The store owner squares his folder. The mother's grip loosens on the stroller bar but does not leave it. Rowan's gaze settles on Jaden. You will write, by hand, what you did and who paid for your choice. Not if anyone felt unsafe. The facts. That assignment is not a sentence. It measures whether you can look at the world you're in. Jaden breathes in, out. Yes, Your Honor. It isn't redemption. It's a clean line in the record. Rowan repeats, softer, not warmer. Order is not anger. Risk is managed, not wished away. She is about to turn to bail when a clerk delivers a blue-stamped folder. Rowan reads, and the room feels the temperature drop. "Counsel," she says, her voice level. "The court has just received certified information from the DMV. Mr. Cross's driving privilege was administratively suspended 2 days before the incident." Nina blinks, blindsided. "We were not aware, Your Honor." "The court is not ruling on a new offense," Rowan continues, her eyes on Jaden. "But driving while suspended speaks directly to amenability to supervision. It is a choice that has been recorded." She sets the folder down. It makes almost no sound, but it lands with the weight of a closing door. "Money posts bond," Rowan says, the line now sharp as glass. "Character keeps it. We will now review bail with this new entry factored into the math." The blue-stamped DMV folder sits like extra gravity on the bench. Judge Rowan lifts her gaze. "Bail," she says. "Each condition ties to a specific risk." Avery doesn't waste a clause. "Risk of repeat driving misconduct, heightened by the DMV administrative suspension 2 days before the incident. Condition, no driving of any vehicle. Violation means immediate remand. Risk of night window misconduct. Condition, curfew tailored to those hours. Risk of location temptation. Condition, GPS with geofences around home, school, and the strip. Risk of peer reinforcement. Condition, no contact with named participants. We're reducing reliance on luck, not punishing it." Rowan nods once. "Defense, same map. Risk to condition. Keep it concrete." Nina stands, voice clear. "We accept the risk categories. Our plan adds hands and clocks without ceremony. No driving. Mother secures all keys and understands the order covers any vehicle. Curfew. Scheduled checks at night and early morning, logged and sent to pre-trial. GPS. Consented, with charger protocol and a battery pack so dead phone isn't a story. No contact, blocked and reported if it occurs. We'll show our work. If he fails, it will be visible." Rowan turns to Jaden. "Plans exist. People make them real. If I draw the lines, do you keep them or lean on them to see if they bend?" He glances toward the back row for help that isn't there, then down at the table. No answer. Rowan lets the pause fill the room. Silence can be data. Avery stays measured. The DMV notice is a failed test before today. Risk of non-compliance isn't hypothetical. Nina holds her ground. Supervision is built for that moment. Don't trust his speech. Trust the system and hold us to it. Rowan touches the DMV folder. Not a criminal adjudication, but it bears on amenability. No driving is the anchor. The other conditions reinforce it. She faces the first row. "Ma'am," to Jaden's mother, "you're offering yourself as part of enforcement. Calling pre-trial if your son violates is not disloyalty to him, it's loyalty to the rule that protects him and everyone else. Do you understand?" The mother's answer is careful. "I do, Your Honor. I'll call." The words land where they should. On Jaden. Something small in his posture changes. The clerk catches it with ink. Rowan turns back. "Defense, confirm. Keys never pass to the defendant." "They don't," Nina says. "Not at work, not at night, not ever." "State, pre-trial checks?" "Ongoing, with added frequency at the start," Avery answers, leaving it at that. Rowan looks at Jaden again. "You tested a line in open court after being told it was a line. Then you hesitated when asked about compliance. That gap matters." His jaw works. "Yes, Your Honor," he says finally. Too late for confidence, on time for the record. Good, Rowan says, because what the court needs is proof, not approval. She gathers the threads into a single shape. Provisional structure, secured bail with no driving, GPS with geofences, curfew, no contact, charger protocol, random compliance visits, and a handwritten accounting of conduct due within 48 hours. Nina nods once. We'll meet each promise as written. Avery adds one practical note. Pre-trial will push the geofence map before release. Rowan lays a hand on the blue folder. Administrative suspension remains part of this record. It narrows my tolerance for experiments. Then she asks the question the room came to hear her ask, one last time and without ornament. Mr. Cross, if I let you out under these lines, do you understand that curiosity about the line is not compliance with it? A beat. I understand. Then the burden shifts to you, Rowan says. Keep the line. The mini-reversal arrives without fanfare. Nina's plan is crisp. Named hands, clean wiring, obvious accountability. Yet the moment that matters is a boy who didn't answer until silence said more than he meant it to. The plan rises. His credibility lags. Rowan signals the clerk. We'll stand while terms are finalized. All rise, Maya says. Jaden stands on time. It is not theater now, just a choice the room can measure. Before stepping off the bench, Rowan looks to the mother, then to the son. One last clarity, she says evenly, laying the bridge to what's next. Money posts bond. Character keeps it. Today's record suggests money is available. The open question is character under supervision. The gold edge of the gavel catches a narrow stripe of light. Around the room, you can feel the hook set. If the door can open with dollars, will it stay open when character is the latch? They rise. The hallway waits. And the next beat belongs to whether a family's leverage can carry a rule, or whether the rule must carry the family. They file back in. The room knows the next sentences will decide whether a door opens and whether it stays open. Jaden's mother rises. We can pay the bond? Rowan doesn't blink. Money post bond? Character keeps it. The line lands like hardware. Cold. Exact. The mother nods. We'll meet the conditions. The bond's most important collateral isn't your signature, Rowan says. It's your son's conduct. The store owner, almost to himself. I need safety for my child. Jaden hears it. Shoulders inch inward. Face stays flat. He glances at the blank monitor where the shard once glinted and looks away before the image completes. Nina rises a half step. Your Honor, the family will secure bond and accept all conditions. Our plan is clear. He understands the line. Understanding isn't obedience, Rowan answers. Respect isn't requested. It's required. Avery remains seated. The state doesn't dispute the family's means. We dispute that money supervises rules. People do. Today's record shows hesitation where a yes belongs. The mother draws breath to answer for him, then stops. She looks at her son instead. The mask reads heavier on him than it did an hour ago. Rowan addresses her, not unkind. If he violates, you will report it. That call is not betrayal. It is loyalty to the rule that protects him and everyone else. Do you understand? I do, she says. The words hit Jaden harder than any speech this morning. Rowan turns to him. A bond is a contract you sign with behavior. Break it and you don't only lose money, you prove the court right to keep you where rules are walls. He says nothing. A single nod. The clerk records it. Rowan keeps the rail straight. I can set a figure that stings and conditions that hold. None of it replaces the choice you make when no one is watching. That choice is the price of respect. Your Honor, Avery says, let the no driving condition be the hinge. If he opens that, everything else swings. Noted, Rowan replies. Nina's voice stays plain. We won't make the court come find us. Rowan studies Jaden. Look at the monitor. The still frame returns. Stroller wheel, shard, the inch that kept luck from turning into harm. He holds the look a heartbeat longer than earlier. The mask thins. A face appears. No one comments. The screen goes dark. Here is the court's position, Rowan says. Bond can open the door. Only character keeps it. We will set bond and attach real conditions. If you honor them, the door stays open. If you treat them like suggestions, you will meet the other kind of door. The mother's grip eases on her purse, then shifts, as if learning to hold a different tool. Jaden speaks, barely. I'll keep it. Good, Rowan says, because what I need isn't your approval. It's your proof. A pause. Then Rowan adds something no one expected, not supervision, but repair. Before we finalize, the court sets the first rung of what comes next, she says. This is not about theater. It is about learning the cost you nearly sent to someone else. The room leans in. Condition. Restoration and labor, Rowan continues. 40 hours at the glass shop you damaged, inventory, sweep, carry, observe installs. You will assist, under supervision, on a Saturday shift when storefront glass is replaced. You will deliver the invoice you pay to the owner yourself. The mother straightens. We can pay the window, she says quickly. You will, Rowan answers. And he will carry it. Avery offers no flourish. The state supports restorative labor as a risk reducer. Nina nods once. Accepted. Rowan isn't finished. Second rung, street to classroom. 2 brief talks at his school. What I did, what almost happened, what stops it next time. What I did, what almost happened, what stops it next time. Jaden swallows. The mask doesn't help here. It has nothing to hold. Third rung. Apology to record, Rowan says. Addressed to the court, the owner, and the mother. The facts. The store owner doesn't smile. He looks at Jaden, then at the bench and says only, "Thank you." Rowan looks to the mother. You can help him keep these rungs. You cannot climb them for him. I know, she says. It sounds new. And true. Rowan turns back to Jaden. This ladder holds if you do. Fail a rung and we revisit where the door belongs. Keep it, and the court will say so on the record. He nods again, stronger. Bond will be set with these conditions attached, Rowan concludes. She signals for a short recess to draft the order. As Jaden stands, on time, he looks at the doorway. It's the same width as before. It looks heavier. What remains in the air is the new question that will pull the story forward. Can a boy who used speed as a language learn to keep a ladder, one rung at a time? The room resets to lines and quiet. Judge Rowan speaks cleanly, turning principle into terms. For the record, secured bail is $50,000 with core conditions grouped as one order. No driving of any vehicle, GPS with geofences, home, school, incident strip, curfew 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., and pre-trial compliance checks weekly. These conditions operate together to reduce risk. Maya's pen moves, ink becoming structure. Next, Rowan says, contempt. The court imposes 2 days custody, stayed on compliance. The stay lifts if, within 48 hours, The defendant fails to submit a handwritten letter acknowledging specific conduct and specific people placed at risk. And to begin community labor as ordered. Jaden sits still, not stone, listening. Community labor is repair, not theater, Rowan continues. The defendant will report to the glass shop he damaged for supervised work. Sweep, inventory, carry, observe installs, and will accompany the crew on a storefront replacement shift, delivering the paid invoice personally. She sets the next rung. School talks, 2 brief counselor-scheduled sessions, driver's ed and freshman seminar, 10 minutes each, facts only, what he did, what almost happened, what prevents it. Rowan turns to Jaden's mother. Keys secured, curfew checks, charger protocol. If he violates, you call pre-trial. That call is a promise kept. I'll call, she says. Rowan returns to the center. Listen carefully, Mr. Cross. This is not punishment. It is boundary. Fail. And the stayed order drops. Succeed, and you begin to be safe. Do you understand the bail terms and the ladder I have placed in front of you? A beat. Yes, Your Honor. Good. Because money posts bond. Character keeps it. And character here is measured in days lived under rules. She groups the record in one, spare reading. Bail amount, 4 core conditions as a single order. Contempt stayed with triggers, labor and learning rungs, letter due in 48 hours. Maya finishes and passes the clipboard. Rowan signs. Mini payoff lands without speech. Jaden's hand goes to his phone on reflex, then stops. Both palms flatten on the table. The clerk notes it. So does his mother. Silence does the rest. Rowan adds clarity that locks the frame. The 2-day sanction activates if the letter is late, if labor is dodged, or if supervision is gamed. No third warning. If you prefer to learn inside a door, you will have the chance quickly. I understand, he says. No bravado. Just record. Then we test understanding, Rowan replies. She glances to Maya. A brief whisper. One scheduling line returns to the mic. Observation begins today at 3 p.m. The glass vendor advanced a measurement run. The court prefers prompt first rungs. Nina leans toward Jaden. 3 o'clock? He nods. Not performance, choice. Rowan faces him again. 2 more truths. Silence can be data, so can small choices. The court will measure both. Yes, Your Honor. Rowan rises. We stand while paperwork issues. All rise, Maya calls. This time Jaden stands on time, not to be seen, to be counted. They hold while copies are made. When Rowan returns, she speaks once more to pin meaning to metal. Mr. Cross, your ladder stands as follows. Order block, bail, plus conditions, unitary, $50,000 secured. No driving, GPS, geofences, curfew, weekly compliance checks. Contempt, stayed. Triggers, no letter in 48 hours. No start of labor, gaming supervision. Restorative labor, glass shop work. Observe and assist on a storefront replacement. Deliver invoice yourself. Learning rungs, 2 school talks, facts only, and a weekly 1-page reflection due to the court for 4 weeks. What I did, who paid, what changes next week. Mother's role, keys secured, checks logged, calls made, loyalty to the rule. She lets the list breathe, then cuts to the hinge. You will keep this ladder by keeping time. Curfew, check-ins, work start, court deadlines, time is a rule. Yes, Your Honor. Rowan looks to counsel. We will not relitigate the map. It is clear. We will enforce it. Nina places a pen in front of Jaden and slides over a single sheet. He writes the due dates in his own hand. 48 hours for the letter, Saturday for the shop shift, 3 p.m. today for observation. He draws a small box beside each to check later. It is the first list he has made that doesn't look like a joke. Rowan sees it. Proof begins now, she says. She signals the clerk to issue the order. The deputy opens the side door. Beyond it, cartwheels, tape guns, the bright scrape of metal rulers, sounds of glass measured before it's cut. Rowan gives the last line the room needs to carry forward. This is not mercy. It is a method. Fail, and the stay falls. Keep it, and the court will say so on this record. Jaden looks at the threshold. The door isn't wider than before. It is heavier. He nods. Small. Unperformed. Afternoon at the glass shop. Short sleeves, borrowed gloves, safety glasses. A foreman shows the cut. Steady wrist, even pressure. The blade whispers. The pain answers. Montage, compressed to the spine of work. Measure, score. Lift with legs. Hold the corner. Let the suction hold. Carry scrap to the bin. Sweep, tape, haul, breathe. The store owner points, not unkind. Up a hair. Hold your corner. No praise, no contempt. Just the job. Outside, the mother with the stroller walks the far sidewalk. She does not turn away. She does not approach. She keeps distance, visible and earned. At a folding table, Jaden writes the letter the court required. No hedges, no if. I drove reckless. I took a turn that was not mine to take. The cost was your fear, yours, your child's, your neighbor's. No one was hurt because I was lucky. I will not ask luck to pay again. He signs, seals, and dates it. Week 1. Another cut of work. Inventory crates, shoulder boxes, carry the invoice to the front. The owner takes it, folds it once, nods. That is the entire conversation. Evening. Kitchen table. His mother watches him address an envelope to the court. She does not coach. She witnesses. He leaves the envelope in the center of the table like a visible promise. School day. 10 minutes in driver's ed. He keeps it factual. Weight, inches, how glass breaks, why luck is not safety. No applause. The kids listen. It lands heavier than clapping. Courthouse after hours. Wood and brass in long rectangles of light. Empty room, steady memory. 3 heel beats. The gold rim of the gavel holds a thin line. Rowan's voice returns, stripped to the theme. Respect is not requested. It is required. Required to protect you and everyone around you. Days start adding up. Curfew checked, chargers set, GPS green. Jaden discovers that keeping time is work. That silence can be proof. That the ladder is climbed in rungs no one films. Saturday shift. He steadies a pane while the crew sets cups. His arms tremble. The glass does not. He learns to let the hold do its job. Cut to the room that matters most. His. Dusk at the window. On the desk, a padded envelope sealed by pre-trial, car key fob inside, tamper tape across the flap. The order says he may drive when the court says he may. The envelope says rules travel home with you. He picks it up, feels the lightness and the weight. No inner speech, no montage of choices. He looks at the door, then at the envelope, then at the desk. He puts the envelope down. He does not open it. He sits. The quiet is complete and needs no witness. Quick echoes, like stamps on the week. Glass shop supervisor initials his log. The store owner emails a one-line receipt. Invoice delivered. Work observed. The school counselor accepts his 10-minute outline for next week's talk. The clerk's file shows. Week 1, letter received, handwritten, specific. Back to the courtroom in morning light. Empty again. The bench is a shadowed shape. The gold rim still holds its small seam of sun. The room does not applaud. It records. Rowan's plain voice, again. the spine. Respect is not requested. It is required. Required to protect you and everyone around you. Outside, the city keeps its ordinary pace. Van doors, bike bell, tape tearing, a child's short laugh. Jaden carries another stack, sets it down clean, rolls his shoulders once, and returns for more. He walks home at dusk. On his desk, the envelope waits where he left it. He passes it, touches it with 2 fingers, and keeps going. Not a performance, a pattern. If this kind of justice speaks to you, quiet power, real stakes, subscribe to JusticeSoul, tap the bell, and share this story. New cases, new rungs, every week. Night. Jaden stands at the desk, looks at the sealed key fob one last time, and turns out the light. He does not open it.